Okay, 64 shirts in 2 minutes. Union Saint-Gilloise, Real Betis. Now, Real Betis, really fucking average club based in Valencia, but very good shirts, and they play in green and white stripes. And this is a digital inspired third shirt. FC Nuremberg, von Bayern, another Real Betis, really nice for the green and white stripes. Is quite rare in football, relatively. Kaiser Chiefs, okay, Kaiser, not Kaiser. Soweto's other team. One of two major South African teams. Tranmere Rovers, they're about 2004, 2005. What I love about this is it's deeply unglamorous, but I love the idea of your sponsor being your council. Napoli, obviously. These, even if you buy a XXXXL, it's still going to suffocate you. It'll be so tight. That's the nature of the Kappa shirt. Brighton Hove Albion obviously had to buy this for the great survival season. It's really inspiring actually to see a half decent sponsor. My first Brighton shirt was Santex, and before that Nobo, and then after that was Donatello. I don't have those anymore, but anyway, and that's my dad's surname on the back. Italy, this is the glorious Kappa. Again, extremely tight. I think this is an XL, but it wears like an S. But absolutely brilliant, more like diving wear, to be honest. Horrible club, Lazio Roma. But as ever, the devil has the best tunes and the devil has the best badges. But borderline fascist, genuinely nasty club, but really nice shirts. Leyton Orient, the funny thing about this particular one is I just love the idea of the sponsor being Dream Team. Orient being anything but a dream team. This is the glorious Breton style French away shirt from about 2015 or something like that. Bloody amazing, really good. And there's often in the French shirts, there's often a motivational anti-racism message, which none of them pay attention to. This is Sao Paulo. Brazilian shirts are great, as are Argentinian. The Brazilians are funny because there's always a million stars above them representing the number of Rumbelows Cups they've won and that sort of thing. But what's pretty consistent is, like Italy, and France actually, the way too many sponsors, and the sponsors are really crap in general. There'll be banks or yogurts and stuff like that. Japan, I don't know, something like 2015, 2016. I found this at a charity shop. It's really good, really strong fluorescent colours there. Velez Mostar. I had a lot of Bosnian in my life for many years. And even though this looks like a shirt that's from a stall on Oxford Street that some poor child's been bought, it's actually the shirt. So really important club in the Yugoslavia era. Now sort of the second club in that city, and just playing in the Bosnian League, obviously. Liverpool, Premiership winning shirt, sort of had to get, wouldn't really wear it though, but I got Origi because he's Belgian. The Wolves shirt, very fond of this city, but also fond of this badge. It's an absolutely awesome badge, probably one of the greatest badges in English football, I would argue, or in world football, because what it's doing is it's visually very simply communicating Wolf, but it's also speaking very closely to industry and the Black Country with that hexagon, which looks a bit like a bolt. That looks uncomfortably like McDonald's though there, but anyway, that's the Wolf shirt. Love that colour in general. This is a British Caledonian Brighton replica that I was bought last year. At this time, I didn't actually support Brighton, I supported Liverpool, but this is when they were their most sort of annoying in about 81 to 83, got into the FA Cup final and hammered by Man United in the second in the replay, but it's actually captured the satin effect, which it had at the time quite well. It would have been an Adidas. But this is Union Saint-Gilloise. This is one from the anniversary year. What's great about Union in general is their sponsors are quite grand, culture et formation, which reminds me of something you see on a cycling shirt. But this is a good example of the kind of crowded sponsor game in a lot of Francophone football. Then you have, this is probably my all-time favourite. This is Vasco da Gama. of Brazil. Normally it's got a horrible sponsor, but this year it didn't. And that sash is really, really special. So witness again the very, the kind of acne breakout of Stars, all those competitions they presumably won. But that black sachet on, not sachet, what do you call it? Sash on the shirt is really, really brilliant. It just looks really good. Umbro are a bit crap. And very sort of British, but forgive them that. This is a Man City third shirt from last year, I think. I moderate affection for Man City. I like the fact that this obviously represents Paisley and the international trade in textiles and all that. Sort of had to get that, really. That was in the Puma store. This is a Brighton shirt from the era of the Fatboy Slim sponsorship, and Skint has come off, but at that point Brighton probably had the coolest sponsors in the whole of the league. Soviet Union, Evil Empire. I was going to chuck this out, but obviously it's a replica, but it's of a time. I wouldn't wear it. This is probably my second favourite. This is Mamelodi Sundowns from South Africa, and the fact that it's in one of the colours of one of the greatest sides in world football, that's Brazil, not Norwich City, is obviously part of the story. But check out that badge, though. The sky is the limit. It's just it's really inspiring and really joyous. And again, no sponsor. Quite often, typically, you get MTN or the big telecoms companies ruining shirts in South Africa. But I absolutely love this one. It's a really good shirt. This is Rangers. I only got into Rangers because I fucking hate Celtic these days. And Hummel are brilliant because Hummel obviously channel the Danish Dynamite and the great years of Danish football. It's a really, really surprisingly nice sponsor with a very distinctive look. You've always got the Hummel arrows in general. This is Israel. Horrible shirt, actually. It feels like paper and very hard to find. And you can't wear it in my area because someone will kill you. But anyway, that's good. This is Grimsby Town. We actually went to the club shop in the year that, probably 2 years ago now, when they returned to the Football League. This is one of the great unglamorous clubs, one of several fishing-based clubs in my collection. The club are obviously called are they the Mariners? I think they're Mariners, sponsored by a fish finger brand or a tin tuna brand. This club actually plays in Cleethorpes in a neighbouring town. So I didn't actually go into Grimsby, but I was dead excited to get to the club shop because everyone was on fire and dead excited, even though now they're second to bottom of the league again, tragically. This is Ireland. I actually wore this when the Sussexes got married. I think they're the Sussexes, Prince William. And what's funny about this one, it's actually that really nice sort of old style Umbro range that Umbro were doing to sort of make it more about tailoring and stuff like that, but with that terrible sponsor. Mine's got plaster and paint on it, which is my uniform when I'm pretending to be a brickie, or kind of stupid that I got that dirty. This is an original Ireland, when is it, 88 or 90 or maybe even earlier, which I wore to the to a U2 concert. It's a really horrible fabric, very, very sweaty, but that kind of patterning is very much of a time and now very much sought after. This is Standard Liège. Great Belgian club, sort of the other club of Belgium when Anderlecht aren't being shit. In a way, they're the cooler club. They're a bit like the Liverpool to Chelsea or something like that. Much more passionate city, much more sort of working class, stronger industrial history and so on. Really likeable club, actually. Amazingly likeable city. This is the French unisex shirt from probably a year or two ago, and there's your classic "Nos différences nous Unis, there you are. But they obviously don't because Marine Le Pen is probably going to go into the second round. This is Deeply Unglamorous, another of the great Deeply Unglamorous Northern shirts, Accrington Stanley. I love it when the only sponsor you can muster, the building companies have walked away, the car hire firms have walked away, that plastics firm that used to sponsor you in the 90s has walked away, but your local council will sponsor you. This is Queen's Park in Glasgow, the oldest football club in Scotland. Really very unique look, very narrow stripes, sort of Breton-y. And they've been sponsored by Irn-Bru, which is a very cool brand for many years. And this is actually very nicely done. It's sort of entirely integrated. The downside is it's Admiral, which is a really feeble brand we associate obviously with England in the early 80s and occasionally AFC Wimbledon and people like that. But they're just a kind of real, losers brand. This is a Zenit St. Petersburg Zenit. Hateful club, hateful city, hateful politics. I mean, no, beautiful city, but fucking awful club in the sense it's owned by mafiosi. But that badge, bloody hell, that's an amazing job. They took it right back to the 30s, to the origins, and it's incredibly clean, very dynamic, and it's just a brilliant job. It looks great. It's just a brilliant rendition of Cyrillic. It's real football romance there. Horrible sponsor as well, Gazprom as well. Avoid shirts with that on. This is OM. They are my French club, Olympique Marseille. They are just, very, very cool. Not particularly successful nowadays. But, being a big immigrant city, Mediterranean, it's got the Pied Noir background to it, and it's the sort of needling, combative, slightly arsehole club. So touch of Liverpool, to be honest, there as well. This is Iceland, the most recent Iceland shirt. Now, this badge, I've written about this a few times, is a thing of glory. What they've done is they've unified four characters, motifs from Icelandic mythology, which is obviously incredibly important. Probably pretty much the only literature to be found outside ancient Greek rubbish. So it's just really inspiring, and I hope they stick with it. It's a brilliant place and a really nice shirt. Bloemfontein Celtic. I got this because it's such a curiosity. There's quite obviously reflecting that international phenomenon of clubs that are inspired or named after others. So there are Arsenals in South America. There's an Everton somewhere as well. Bloemfontein Celtic also retaining the hoops and the boring sponsor as well. That's Reebok. You don't see that in Western Europe much, but you see that a bit more in South America and in Africa as well. Australia. This is really a really surprisingly flattering shirt. Because this bar is very high, it makes you look sort of a bit pectoral. And the colours, I wish they'd get on with fucking changing their flag, to be honest. It really works. It's totally attuned to Australia, the feel of the place. This is Tout-Puissant Mazembe, which is the Man United of Black Africa in a way. They're from the DRC. They've been changed a few times. They used to be called Engelbert. Big fans of Engelbert Humperdinck. What I love about this, I haven't worn it. It's slightly getting into you look ridiculous, you've bought a Hawaiian shirt territory. No, not Hawaiian, but something like, you're wearing a kurta or something like that. Tout puissant, all powerful, almighty is obviously very religious language, because boy do these people like their church. So and that crocodile or alligator has got your ball, so no, you can't have your ball back. This is an earlier Belgian one. Belgium remember being bloody amazing for years, but their their kit was made by Burda Sport. Before this new recent Adidas thing, and it's a terrible shirt. It's a really bad shirt. That badge has since changed, but quite paying me to buy that. I suppose this neck is quite good. Quite often you get with Belgian kits, you get references to cycling, because it's obviously such an important sport in Belgium as well. So that's another example of sort of cycling cues. Canada, bloody hell. What's quite funny about it, I was born in Canada, so I'm Canadian, but The funny thing about this same template, because template is the word that the shirt fans use when they talk about the broad design and the pattern that gets repeated across shirts in different series. This same template literally is the Huddersfield Town away shirt from about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. So that's kind of glamour we're talking about with Canadian football. As they said before that World Cup in '86, or was it '82? Thank God we're not playing them at ice hockey. This is the glorious Belgian away kit, the current one, the Euro 2021, which is absolutely masterful. You got the Adidas tiering happening here. So basically you only get grand Adidas 3 stripes when you're top of the pile, really. You can have gold or you can have sky blue of your Marseille and stuff like that. And that badge is sublime. It sorts out the problem of, the Flemish and the French in the title. Just call it bloody English. And that B is kind of, that could be something from the 30s, to be honest, that they dug up, or, something a bit modernist. Really, really strong. Ditched all the filigrees and the crowns. Well, the crown is still there, but it's just clean and it's contemporary, but it feels like it's tradition, and that's what good football design is like. It feels like you haven't stolen someone's heritage from them, you've just sort of given them something older and more authentic, and that's an absolute triumph, a bit like the Icelandic one, actually. OL, Olympique Lyonnais. I also very fond of this club, very fond of this city. Shame about the sponsor, really boring Japanese car brand. I think they're Japanese, but this is a really cool club. And they've got a really their fan base called Les Gaumes, I think. The fans, which I think references coal miners or something like this. This is, talking of cycling parallels, this is the Belgian away kit from a few years ago, sky blue, with these amazing central hoops which reference the flag. This is the old badge, but this actually works really well here. It's a lovely shirt. That was a present from someone. This is another French away kit, still retaining the Breton. They've dropped the Breton now, but it's just really good, and I love the fact that the cockerel has gone red. And they're not, the thing about the French, they're not afraid to mess with this. You'll see different incarnations of this quite often. This is Salah's Egypt shirt. Kind of had to get this. Obviously, Egypt are a long-standing cold peace enemy of Israel, but there's something quite exciting about seeing sort of glamour plus Arab world that's worth a look. FC Nantes, they've got a new badge, a really boring new badge actually, which is one of those sort of Juve style remakes, but very unglamorous. But I think the point about this is they're yellow and green, and you don't get a lot of yellow and green, surprisingly. Orlando Pirates, this is the other Soweto club, so again sponsored by your Vodacom, which is Vodafone locally. The other major rivals of Kaizer Chiefs, obviously, and you really do divide according to which one of these you support, and it gets violent by all accounts. This is I don't think it's actually a knockoff. This is Credit Bank Anderlecht from the 90s, I think. It feels knockoff, but I don't think it actually is, and it has that sort of German Euro early 90s kind of feel about it, I think. This is the earlier Iceland before the logo makeover from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago actually. Pretty good actually. That badge though feels very sort of Slovenia or Latvia. There's something, or a touch San Marino. It's really kind of children's playground or kindergarten or national football club. Another Jers one. This is a bit of a classic, again done in that in that Umbro sort of made to look tailored look. Tennent's obviously at the time was a big sponsor across the old firm, and it's very much of a time, but that's actually a recent acquisition. This I absolutely love. This is Bosnia, again back to Bosnia. I actually wore this at an anti-Corbyn, anti-Semitism protest, because Bosnia is an absolute totem for opposition to that shower of fucks. Another Anderlecht, Fortis. This is quite glamorous, you know, the gold piping. Another Anderlecht, slightly different, baseball size up. I found both of these at the Marché aux Puces. This is Guadalajara. This is a Guadalajara side. I can't remember their Deportivo Guadalajara. I only bought this because it's Hummel and it's also so incredibly bold on the whole rainbow front. So it's kind of interesting in itself. And every so often you get shirts that are marketed really with a close eye on export and fan collectors, because you know there's one out there at the moment with prawns on it, like photo real prawns, like you've just opened a can of tin prawns. Guess they're big into their prawns, but and then these are a couple of replicas. This is you know, these are those Toff shirts I'm not crazy about, but you know, what can you do? I got these from charity shops. That's probably like a 50s West Ham. That's a 60s West Ham, which has number 6 on it, Bobby Moore, and I've been running with this on, and you get the old timers, you know, kind of giving her a bit of a nod. It's Bobby, because I look quite like Bobby Moore in his prime. And this is quite funny. I really love the sleeves of it, the slightly, you know, zebra effect. India, there's something very funny about having the shirts of clubs that are frankly terrible and not, you know, currently football nations, but that, by all accounts, is an Indian shirt made by Six Six, which is possibly a cricket brand. This is really good. This is a Columbia shirt. It's a long sleeve. This is a present from a friend of mine. And what I love about it is that's very German. That's German sort of 90s, late 80s effect. I don't know when this actually is. I think this might be contemporary. This is another, definitely a knockoff Marseille shirt, but I found in an attic sale in France, but I like it because it's sort of so sincere as a knockoff. They've actually reproduced the hotel brand there and whatever that is as well, and but definitely a knockoff. But it's actually it's very summery and it's not sweaty. That's a Belgian away or a training from the pre-logo change. That's you know, it's actually really, really nice. But this is one of many examples, I think, of that whole what they call training wear or stadium wear, where, again, the clubs have cottoned on to the fact that people want a bit of merch, and, you know, there'll be shower wear soon, no doubt, and golf course wear as well. Anything to sort of multiply the portfolio. And this one I bought, and I think this is the last in the collection, actually. This is the notorious banana custard Newcastle United, which was after the global financial crisis and the fall of Northern Rock. They were still bumping along, sponsored by Northern Rock. It still existed as an entity, and this shirt, by all accounts, was hated. It was one of those examples quite early where your away shirt is just absolutely deliberately vile, and it was apparently hated by fans. And I was asked, what do you want on the back? Because they were doing printing services, and I probably should have got Keegan, but I was sort of stumped and didn't want to look like I didn't know much about the club. So I got this fascinating man. Okay, and that is the collection. 64, when I'm 64. Grow up.